Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're enjoying those little Christmassy vibes there. As you can tell, I'm not in the same place anymore. Those clips were filmed at my parents' house in France, and now I'm actually back in Brussels. I tried to film the video in France actually a few times, but never quite worked out. So here we are. It is the day before the new year. Everyone's talking about it. It's the new year, like new year, new me. And I'm just not buying into that this year. And to be honest, I never, we all know it's a load of crap, right? But I'm definitely one who has got caught up in the whole excitement of it before and the opportunity to set myself new goals and challenges. This year, I'm not as into that. And I think that a lot of it has come from the last year and a lot of the lessons that I've learned, a lot of the challenges that have been thrown my way. And a lot of the time I've just felt out of my depth and like I'm really, I don't know, maybe even gone too far on challenging myself. I don't know whether I'll agree with that in hindsight, you know, in the future when I look back on 2018. But I just know that I want to go into 2019 with realistic expectations. This whole thing about setting resolutions and stuff is fine. It's not necessarily unhealthy, but I do think it's healthy just to check your expectations and check how much you're asking of yourself and whether you're being reasonable or not. Because the last thing you want to do is go into 2019 feeling overwhelmed and just feeling crap about yourself when you don't live up to your expectations of this fantasy you and what your life could be. I drew up a little mind map of things I wanted to talk about in the video today because I thought that maybe what I could do is reflect a little bit on my 2018, tell you a bit about what I've learnt, and tell you a bit about my hopes for 2019. I did do a series at the beginning of the year where month by month I was kind of tracking my progress with my business. And honestly, at a certain point, I felt like it just wasn't healthy for me anymore to be reflecting on things that I was still in the process of learning. Like it really just started to make me feel like I wasn't progressing as quickly as I should be. And that is something that I still struggle with, but 2018 has really taught me a lot of patience. And I'm still not the most patient person in the world. I think that that's an ongoing process for everyone, just a lifelong process. But what I will say is that I have definitely learnt to enjoy the process of things a lot more this year. And that was something that I thought I knew, something that people kept repeating to me. And it didn't really click for me until about halfway through the year. Specifically for me in the case of building my business, but also, you know, I moved to Brussels and just, you know, life in general, like nobody has it figured out. It's a constant process. And I really have truly learnt to love the process of that and the journey of that. For me now, it's a lot more about who am I going to meet along the way? What am I going to learn along the way? I love learning now. I enjoyed learning new things before, maybe not obviously, but now I love learning things that relate to my job and things that I need to do in my day-to-day life. Apart from boring things like, I don't know, like how to check the boiler and stuff. I don't love learning that, but I mean, it's a life skill. Okay, that was boring. But also just things completely unrelated to what I do, like how do things work? How do things in the world work? I read a lot more now. That's another big thing for 2018 is I love reading for pleasure again. I guess university ruined that for me for a couple of years. Just little sidetrack actually. I went to a bookshop yesterday and I was meant to be picking up some notebooks, but I went into the English section because I live in Brussels, so it's not always easy to find books in English. Stick to the point, Emily. And I found this book and I was attracted by the cover because it was very colourful and it looked really cool, and I also recognised the name of the author. And I picked it up, I read the blurb, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. It's about Africa in the 1700s and a, what would you call it? Not like an empire, but a kingdom there, and how all these changes are affecting it through things like slavery and the arrival of Islam. And I was like, ooh, this is different from anything I've read recently, but I'm gonna pick this up. And then I realized that I recognized the author because it was an author from my reading list in my last year of university. And basically I did a module in Western African literature in my last year of uni. And I'm pretty sure that this book is the exact book that was on my reading list, but I never read the book because one, I thought it didn't sound that interesting, and two, it was like the last book on the reading list and I was already writing my essay by the time we got to studying it, so I didn't really need to read it for the grades. That was a very long tangent to say, how much have I changed? Like something that I had to read for university, and I didn't because it felt like a chore, I now pick up for pleasure. Like I just feel like it's a really good example of how my mindset has changed from I read the things on my reading list at university to tick them off the box and to do the final essay because that was the final thing I needed to do to get the degree, which was the thing that I was going through these 4 years of university for. I wasn't really enjoying the process of university. That's a whole story in itself. But now I'm picking up this book just because I want to read it and I want to learn about it and I think it sounds interesting. And this is kind of my main point of something that I think can help you that I've really learned this year, is that it's not about ticking off boxes. It's not about getting X number of clients, earning this amount of money, having this kind of a house, having a dog, and doing all these things by the time you're 30. It's much more about enjoying the process, like I said, but also don't focus on ticking off the boxes. Focus on moving things forward every day, even if it's only a tiny bit. And sometimes things are gonna feel like they're going backwards because it's not a straight line and just life is more complicated than that. But it's about just pushing things forward a little bit, because eventually by pushing things forward a little bit, it's gonna add up and you're gonna tip it over the edge and you will end up ticking that box, but you may not even realize you've done it. And by the time you've done it, honestly, you probably won't even care anymore. You'll be thinking about something else. So really just try to focus on the present. What do you have now? What do you love now? What do you love about your life now? Because just time and time again, I'm just really being reminded that, you know, these 2 years ago when I graduated, I thought that what was going to make me happy was having a life where I could travel the world. And, you know, in 2018, I did a lot of traveling, and yet the thing that makes me happiest now, and to be honest, always did, was having people around me that I love, spending time with friends. And that's going to be a big focus for me in 2019, is spending more time with my friends. It's hard to make friends in a new place each time you move abroad. So really making sure I keep up connections with my friends from university and school and, you know, the people who have been there for me for a really long time. So without risking this turning into a super long, rambly video, which it kind of already is, I just want to say about 2018, I'm not at the point I wanted to be now. But when I look at the past year, I've really learned some invaluable lessons, and I am proud of how far I've come, even though I still get so many moments where I beat myself up for not having ticked off those boxes like I was saying. But you know, I think I've made really positive steps in my mental health, in just how I feel about myself and how I manage my emotions and day-to-day frustrations. I've got a much better head on my shoulders about my priorities in life. I'm definitely not perfect, but that's cool too. I don't know, I just think about where I could be in a year from now and all the things I'm gonna learn in the next 12 months, and I want to feel happy about that rather than overwhelmed. So 2019 is not going to be a year of me setting crazy goals for myself. It's going to be much more a year of me being just accepting that I'm a regular human. I like myself. I think I'm pretty great. I think I've got talents. I've also got flaws, but you know, just recognizing that actually I'm a regular human and setting myself regular goals is fine. I'm not actually setting myself any New Year's resolutions, but my focus in the first part of 2019 is going to be on business side of things, the new packages in my business, just pushing those and really just have a lot more clearer direction and can streamline that. But also in just my personal life, my financial life, to do with travels, I want to be a lot more organized and planning things now that I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. But at the same time, I want to remain open-minded to what could happen, because things never go to plan in life, almost never. And, you know, we could end up moving next year, or we could end up staying in Brussels for the whole year. Like, we don't really know for sure. So just staying open-minded to what could happen. And of course, I'll be working on my documentary for Kilimanjaro. And honestly, that scares me a bit. That's a big task. But like I said, just breaking things down, not letting myself get overwhelmed, hopefully, please. Trying to keep a healthy balance between my personal time and just recognizing that my whole life doesn't have to revolve around work. So honestly, there's nothing too different about what I'll be doing at the start of 2019 that I wasn't already starting to implement at the end of 2018. And I think that's good for me, because once again, it's all about moving things forward a little bit day by day, and gradually that's going to make a difference, and you're going to push things over the edge until you have actually ticked that box that you were so impatient to tick in the first place. And I think that's what's going to bring more long-lasting results. That's what's going to feel better and just be healthier for you to manage. And that's just my philosophy at the moment. And I hope that it's one that you can take something positive from, and just remind yourself that you don't have to be ticking all the boxes every single day. You've just got to be doing your best, and sometimes doing your best means taking a step back and looking after yourself. So with that, I'm gonna finish up this video. I'm gonna wish you a very happy 2019, and I will see you in my first video of January next week. Bye guys, Happy New Year.